Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode on OTV Football. Today, I'm joined by my co-host, Alex. I know the celebrity is back. I know a lot of you in the comments have been requesting him once again. Today, we are going to be reviewing the Champions League quarterfinal matchups and doing some of our semifinal predictions. Alex is obviously a Barca fan, so he's a lot to say on the most recent results. And I mean, yeah, we can just kind of get straight into it. But Alex, any thoughts before we start?
Yeah, no, I'm happy to finally, be on the channel. It's been a long time coming. Been very busy recently, but yeah, no, I'm excited. Let's get into it.
Wow. All right, what match do you want to start with? We can kick it off.
Yeah, let's go straight in. I think the biggest match of this quarterfinal, just to review, was Bayern Madrid. So Bayern obviously came into this absolutely battering Atalanta. And Madrid, coming off a strong showing against Man City, I think not many people really expected with considering City's form at the turn of the year. I thought this game, or these two games, to be honest, like they were very interesting because honestly, coming into it, I thought Madrid might have a decent chance to knock Bayern out. And it's not because Madrid are good, but I'm honestly not convinced by Bayern Munich. I think they're a team that has good players, a good coach. They have everything on paper, right? But something just tells me the mentality isn't there, and I think we're gonna see that in the next round, which we'll get to later. But I was not overly convinced by Bayern Munich across these two games. Madrid, I thought, they tried their best, but at the end of the day, I mean, like, this whole Vinny Mbappe experiment is just a complete failure, and I think that's I mean, I've been like a broken record on this ever since they kind of fell back in the league this season. I thought maybe the first season it might be hit or miss with Mbappe and Vinny, and they had good moments and bad moments, but I think it's clear now for everyone to see that these two just cannot work together. And I don't know, we can go game by game, but I kind of want to get your thoughts first before we jump into that.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you. I think the Mbappe number 9 experiment needs to be done. I don't know if you also saw just the rumor post World Cup that Didier Deschamps might be taking over Madrid. I saw that as like a potential rumor. I mean, make them more of a terrorist football side. But yeah, no, I agree. I think the Mbappe number 9 experiment is a failure. He clearly does not provide as much without being on the wing. And I thought Arda Güler had a good. Obviously in this against Bayern away, he was fantastic with the free kicks. I know, yes, Neuer did give him basically 2 gifts. When we analyzed the match, but at the end of the day, yes, I do agree with you. Also on the flip side, that Bayern defensively are not a trustworthy side right now. Can we trust them to win the entire thing? I know a lot of people are predicting them to do so, but I do think Kompany has done a great job with the side, but I do think that they, are very vulnerable, particularly to counterattacks and defensively in general. So,
yeah, no, I completely agree. But just to kind of review both games as a whole, I thought the first game, Bayern were honestly better. Not only were they better defensively, but I thought going forward, they looked like, I mean, they could have scored 4 or 5 in this game. Yep. Alvaro Carreras on the left was getting absolutely skinned by Michael Olise. And I want to take a moment here just to talk about Michael Olise, right? Because in the past, I believe on this podcast, I've always been a little bit questionable. It's his first season at Bayern. I wasn't sure if people were comparing this guy to Yamal, which I still think is maybe a little bit far. But I mean, I think over these 2 legs, he has truly announced himself to the world. In that first leg against Elise, it looked like every single time he ran at Carreras was running for his mother and screamed like he was getting absolutely skinned. And it was just a joy to see. As a Barca fan, of course, you love to see that. But I think Elise really announced himself to the world. And when you compare his performance to someone like Vinicius on the other side, I mean, it's really a bit shameful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Another player I want to shout out on Bayern, Harry Kane, which,
Wow.
we have obviously been, we have been big doubters of Harry Kane in the past, mainly on the international stage, I would say. But I mean, even in the Champions League, he's never really had like, and of course, playing for Spurs, it's hard to do so, but he's never really had those moments where you think like, wow, like Harry Kane in like a big match. Like, so I think in these two legs, like in the first game, he slotted his finish home very well. Yep. And in the second game as well, he took his goal well. And to be fair, I think, you do have to look at Madrid's back line. I mean, Trent is just the same old story. Carreras, we already discussed. Rudiger at this point in his career, I mean, I'm sorry, but he's done at this level, in my opinion.
I never thought he was like a top center back anyway, but
Yeah, and Dean Huijsen is someone who, coming into this season, I was a little bit scared about him as a Barca fan. I thought, oh wow, they finally got like a competent center back because, I mean, last season especially their defense was an absolute mess. But coming in, I thought he started well. But as the season has gone on, he just looks like his confidence is completely gone. I mean, every time the ball comes to him, he just clears it, which is very weird, in my opinion, for someone of his, technical ability. And not to just kind of dwell too much on, individual performances, but like you said, I thought Arda Güler did well. Thiago Pitard starting in the first leg, I think he's just not ready for these types of moments. Yeah, I think he's a decent player, but I mean, he almost gave away an absolute sitter in the first leg. And Mbappe gets his goal in the first leg. But again, same old story with Mbappe and Vinicius. It's like one shows up, one doesn't. Or they just neither of them show up. But to kind of move on then into the second leg, I think, Madrid, they made a good account of themselves, I think, considering all the circumstances.
Yeah.
Considering there was no Tchouaméni. But that being said, Neuer just giving two absolute gifts.
It was a great game of football to watch, though, as a neutral.
No, definitely. Yeah. But honestly, even in that game, I was not worried at all that Madrid were going to come out and win it. And I want to highlight one player in particular, Eduardo Camavinga.
Oh wow!
I have never, from his arrival at Madrid, I have never understood the hype about this player.
Yeah.
I think he's a good athlete. I think he's relatively good technically. I think, he's a good, like, Aston Villa player. Like, I truly believe that. And I haven't seen an ounce of improvement or, experience. And he comes into this game. He gets a yellow, the most blatant yellow. Honestly, good foul, right? Stops, I think it was Kimmich. It was either Kimmich or Elise. I believe it was Kimmich. But from going on the counter, right?
Yep.
Pulls him back. A few minutes later, he commits a foul that's already, in my opinion, a borderline yellow. And then he picks the ball up and runs away with it. I mean, if I'm a Madrid fan and I'm seeing that, like, this is funny coming from a Barca fan with the 2 red cards over the 2 legs, but I mean, this is just absolutely at 3-3. There's no reason. Why are you trying to waste time? You're drawing the game. So I think he's gone in the summer, to be honest.
Wow.
But yeah, kind of to conclude over the 2 legs, I think the Courtois miss was really big because Courtois is just one of those goalkeepers. Like obviously, him being a Belgian. He's just one of those goalkeepers that, he can get you out of any sort of situation. And I think, honestly, he might have made a difference if he had played in these 2 legs. But ultimately, I think no one would disagree that, Bayern kind of deserves to go through. And yeah, one last shout out I want to give. Upamecano I thought was very good over these 2 legs.
Yeah.
And I know he had moments where he looked like he was going to make a mistake. And to be fair, he did make a couple silly giveaways. I remember the one in the first leg where he, misjudges the ball and then Vinicius takes it and kind of puts it wide. But I thought he did a very good job on Vinicius in particular. Yeah. And Mbappe, leaves with his goal again. Is what it is. But yeah, I think that's all to really discuss over these 2 games.
Yeah. I mean, I completely agree with all your points. And one last thing I'll say is I remember after the first leg too, people were saying, I love Manuel Neuer. He's one of my favorite keepers ever. But everyone was saying like he's like,
Yeah.
back in his prime again or whatnot. And I mean, Neuer, in my opinion, has not been a top goalkeeper since maybe like 2017. To be honest, it's been a while. Like I know Ulreich played a few seasons when Neuer was hurt, in and out of the Bayern team and whatnot. But at the end of the day, like yes, Neuer made a couple of good saves, but in the second leg, I mean, he kind of showed his age there, in my opinion. I mean, those are just, yes, they're like youthful mistakes, you would say. From an experienced goalkeeper, it's shocking, but. I mean, I also think the more you progress in age, too, I think, those types of things tend to happen as well. So, but credit to Bayern. I mean, I want Bayern to win the whole thing, but, we'll get into the predictions and whatnot. But, defensively, I don't really trust them. So,
Yeah. Moving on. And, of course, this is going to be painful to talk about, but moving on to Barca, Atletico Madrid. I have so many thoughts about this game. I haven't even fully processed this elimination yet, to be honest. But, I mean, Barca, where can I start, to be honest? I'll start with the first leg and just take it game by game. But, in the first leg, I thought we started very well. Unfortunately, like we had a few great chances. Marcus Rashford. I mean, this guy is just the same old story. Like I honestly thought like in the beginning of the season, especially after those, the brace against Newcastle.
He was playing well at the beginning of the year, to be honest.
He was playing well. He's coming in off the bench, doing his thing. But to be honest, I mean, like this guy is just the same old. Like he misses he's way too wasteful in front of goal, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I mean, when he has that one where he exchanges it with Olmo and comes in off the left and has a clear shot at goal, it's just a very, very poor shot, to be honest. And I mean, in the build-up to this game, Atletico had a game in the league against Barca where they rested all their players and they were at home. And that was a hard-fought win. It was a big win, and I thought we played well. And so coming into this, I was, despite the Rafinha miss and despite the De Jong miss and despite Balde being out, but Cancelo coming into good form, I was actually relatively confident, and I thought, they had their fun in the Copa del Rey. We'll get our get back in these two games, but I mean, it's the same old story with Barca. Unfortunately, the red cards, and look, I mean, if you look at these two legs, and just look at the play, Barca, in my opinion, I don't think anyone would disagree with this. I think Barca deserved to go through.
Yeah.
I look at the Kubarsi red card in the first leg, and I'm sorry, but how is that a red card? And I want your opinion on this because, of course, I'm biased, right?
Yeah.
But as someone, I'm not sure if you know this, but I was formerly a licensed referee, with the U.S. Soccer Federation.
I actually did not. Wow.
But I mean, if you're taken down outside the box, and it's a clear goal scoring opportunity, then it's denial of an obvious goal scoring opportunity, right?
Yeah.
That is a textbook red card, right? If it's not in the box, if it's outside the box, you have a clear goal-scoring opportunity, that's a red card, okay? I'm fine with that, right?
Yep.
But for those that haven't seen this, please watch it again. The ball is behind Julian Alvarez, right? Or it was Simeone, Giuliano Simeone. The ball is behind him. He lifts his leg up, almost trying to do like a half scorpion over his head and take it into his stride, right?
Yeah.
Kubarsi is just running. Him lifting his leg up happens to coincide with Kubarsi running into him, and then obviously gets taken out. Let's be honest. How many players in the world are pulling off that half scorpion?
I completely agree.
If any.
Yeah.
I mean, that for me, that is not a denial of an obvious goal scoring opportunity.
Maybe like a Zizou pulls it off, but
I'm not sure about that for sure. But regardless, I mean, I'm just kind of in shock. And then, of course, you have the incident, and Julian Alvarez' brilliant free kick makes it 1-0. I mean, of course, it's the double jeopardy, which just makes it even worse, to be honest. But after that, you have the incident where I forget who it was. I want to say it was Langley. But when Juan Musso clearly passes the ball to him, intending to start play from the goal kick, and then he touches it with his hand. That one, like, to be honest, I wouldn't want a penalty for that. But, like, by the letter of the law, it is a penalty. And I don't see how seemingly every 50-50 decision manages to go against Barca. Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, fair play to Atletico. They get the second goal with Sorloth coming off the bench. He just seems like he's the Barca demon at this point. Scores against us every time we play him. But I mean, yeah, once you go down to 10 men in the first half, I mean, we still had chances. Like Yamal had a couple good opportunities. But I mean, at that point, it was just get into the second leg, to be honest. And it says a lot when, you're 10 against 11 or 11 against 10, and your goalkeeper in Juan Musso, your backup goalkeeper, mind you, is man of the match. So I think that says a lot about, how Barca played in that first leg. But to kind of move on to the second leg now, I mean, this one was just painful, man, because we go 1-0 up and then 2-0 up in literally like the first 25 minutes, right? And then Fermin has that chance, right? On, Yamal does a Trivela signature into the box. Fermin, wide open header, should have taken it much better. But Juan Musso, again, cleats him in the face.
Yeah, no call.
No, not only no call, no review, right? And again, okay, in the first leg, right? Denial of an obvious goal-scoring opportunity, right? It doesn't matter. That's what they ruled it as, which, again, I disagree with. But it was very clear that was completely unintentional, right? Again, by the letter of the law, it doesn't matter if it's unintentional from Musso. He cleats him in the face. Like,
True.
I don't know. I again, another decision goes against Barca. I don't. Sorry, go ahead if you want to.
No, I was just saying that photo was infamous on Twitter all throughout the match. I mean, it was pretty ridiculous. And then obviously you're about to get into the other call that happened in that match that was pretty controversial as well. But
yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple. It's not even one, in my opinion. But I mean, Lookman scores, brilliant goal. Koundé, what are you doing? Yeah, it looks like he's jogging to Lookman when he's clearly in for that square ball. And, I mean, it's a good finish in the end. But
don't you feel like Barca as well? I saw this again on Twitter as well. Someone made a comment that Barca has kind of conceded the same type of goal all throughout the season, like that, like cross to the back post, coming off a wing play, multiple times, whether it's on Koundé's side or whoever the left back is playing. I mean, it's so.
Yes, no, I do agree. We always concede that kind of diagonal ball over the top and a square ball in the middle, and then it's like an easy finish in the end. But I mean, I honestly think the high line is dragged, and I don't think that's what stopped us from winning these two games. I mean, Atletico played brilliantly over the two legs, and despite that, I think we still should have won. I mean, in this game, we had so many chances. I mean, another one, Dani Olmo in the box, clearly pushed from behind. I mean, again, another call again. Like, we did not have a single call go this way. Eric Garcia. Now, they showed, and at this point, it's 2-1 in the 80th minute, right? So maybe it wouldn't have made a difference. But they showed Clement Turpin, the referee, about 3 replays of the same angle of that video. And we all saw it on the broadcast. Everyone saw it. It's there for you to see. You can go watch it. They played 3 replays of the same angle, which was absolutely inconclusive. I'm not even denying it was a red card, but from what I saw, it did not look like one at all.
Yeah.
It honestly looked like Sorloth just tripped over his own feet from every replay I saw.
Yeah.
And Eric Garcia, just because he had his hand out, I mean, for those that watched the Copa del Rey final with Atleti and Sociedad at the weekend, right? there's one which is way more egregious, where Julian Alvarez gets fouled. I'm not sure by who, but one of the Sociedad defenders, and it's way more egregious, and it's a no call. And yet, Eric Garcia is a foul and a red card, even though Koundé is covering. He's coming in.
Yeah.
Once again, it's like, I know for some reason in the Champions League, we have had a red card problem for like the last 3 to 4 years. I remember, I mean, everyone remembers the Araujo PSG one where we were up. And then Barcola threw on goal and he makes a stupid tackle. But these two red cards over these two legs. I mean, maybe you can blame it on the shape and Hansi Flick, but I mean, it's so hard to understand it when every decision over the two legs goes against you, essentially. Atleti committed 1 million fouls in this game and did not get a single yellow card. I mean,
Yeah.
I could go on and on about the referees, but ultimately, I mean, you know, I think we did the best we could. I think if we had Rafinha as well, he would have made a huge difference. He always does.
It seems like that's been a problem for Barca this season. Is you're either having Lamine Yamal play or Rafinha. It's not both at the same time or simultaneously. You know, one seems to always be injured, and I think that's been a big problem for Barca this season. But obviously, you know more than I do on that. But
yeah, I mean, Rafinha, I think, is a little bit gassed, especially from last season because we played so many games, and he's someone who, in every game he played, I mean, he got injured in the international break against France, but. He's someone who will always run his heart out. Yeah, he will always run his heart out in every game that he plays. So it makes sense that he's suffering from a few minor injuries that keep him out for like a month or so. But
yeah.
I mean, at this point, like I thought we played well. João Musso again played unreal in this game. Antoine Griezmann honestly impressed me so much over these two legs.
Yeah.
Which is weird because I thought earlier this season and last season as well he was terrible for them. Yeah. But I mean he just showed that he still has that quality, and it's honestly a shame I think that he wasn't able to cap it off with a trophy in the Copa del Rey because he's never won a trophy at Atletico.
I mean, you don't think they can win the UCL or?
Well, we'll get to that. We will get to that. We will get to that, but. Wow. Yeah, I think, again, Lamine Yamal over the two legs. I mean, this guy's just the best player in the world. And I think anyone that disagrees with that is not watching the sport properly. But, yeah, it's a shame we go out, but I'm not sure what needs to happen if we need a backline overhaul. But, I mean, we go again next season. I have no doubt in Hansi Flick, and I still think, this team has a bright future in them. But yeah, moving on, I guess. Any closing thoughts on this game?
No, I mean it's tears for Barca because they were my pick to win the UCL, as you know, as well. I thought offensively, they were brilliant in a lot of spells during this campaign, but yeah, I mean it's a shame. I mean, obviously we knew the defensive problems that they had, and the potential for that. Now, obviously, Atletico, since they've adopted Ademola Lookman as well, has looked like a completely different side. I mean, they've looked really, really good under him, under Diego Simeone, and with Ademola Lookman now. So, I mean, they've been able to maintain a good shape, play well, and Atletico Madrid are another team that, if they win the UCL, I think that'd be a cool story. I know it's like sympathy, but it'd be like a cool story because they're deserving of a Champions League. I know you're a rival La Liga fan, but I don't think you hate them as much as like a Real Madrid.
Of course not. No, of course not. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, they, everyone remembers the infamous Ramos header in the 2014 UCL. So, maybe there's a chance, but we'll get into our predictions shortly after these next two match reviews. So.
Yes, and these ones will be a little bit quicker because these were the two kind of ties that I didn't really watch too closely.
Yeah.
Liverpool PSG. I mean, I had no doubt in my mind when I saw these two teams matching up that PSG would be the winners.
Yeah.
And PSG haven't been great this season. I mean, I believe it's Lens that's only 1 point behind them in the league. In the Champions League, they've been pretty patchy. Like, they haven't really... they didn't qualify for the top 8. They haven't really been too great in the league phase, but coming into the knockout stages, they went up against. I'm forgetting the first team they played. Um, I forget who. I know they played Chelsea in the round of 16, but
Yeah.
they obviously beat Chelsea 8-2, and completely eviscerated them. Liverpool, on the other hand, I mean, I think Arne Slot is a dead man walking at this point. Not sure what your thoughts are on that, but
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of thoughts on kind of these this fixture as a whole. But I'm on the same page as you. I thought PSG. I thought it was going to kind of be a cakewalk for them. Everyone got. Everyone I think overreacted to Liverpool's round of 16 fixture, and we're like Salah scored a screamer at home. They were playing particularly well. But again, it's the same story with this Liverpool side. It's really that simple. Whenever they play a big team this season, I mean, they're just getting steamrolled. I mean, they've obviously during the Premier League against City and such, recently, in the League Cup as well, just demolished by City. I mean, Liverpool have a lot of things to fix up. I do agree with you. Arne Slot does seem to be a dead man walking, even though I'm not sure he'll get sacked at the end of the season, to be honest.
Really?
I think they might give him the first half of next season
Wow.
a little bit more of a benefit of a doubt there. But, yeah, I mean, of course, Liverpool getting demolished, especially in the second leg, which is the leg I really focused on, where Dembele just absolutely, demolished. Speaking on Liverpool, actually first within the second leg, I thought Salah actually did play pretty well when he came on after Ekitike got what seems to be like a career-ending injury. But I do think that Salah actually played decent, had a few chances. Liverpool just missed a couple sitters, and then of course PSG with their counterattack. I mean they were brilliant. Dembele just with some brilliant finishing there. And PSG, have impressed me a lot this season. I know you said at the beginning, a few months ago actually, that PSG could be a contender for this UCL, even though they won it last year and may not have the same motivation, or that didn't even look particularly insane during the group phase. But I do think PSG did impress in this fixture. And as you said, though, I don't think there was any surprise here. I really didn't see any way Liverpool was going to win this. This isn't 2019 against Barca at Anfield, none of that, with the Salah never give up shirt. It was not happening. So
yeah, I mean, when you come into the first leg and you play a formation, you have not played the entire season. I mean, what are you expecting the result to be honest? Because you play the back three of Konate, Van Dijk, and Gomez, which they have never. I mean, Van Dijk obviously plays in a back three for the Netherlands, but I mean they have just never played in a back three the entire season. And I think actually the formation is not the worst idea considering the players they had. I was not a fan of the Wirtz and Ekitike duo up top, to be honest, in the first leg. I mean, Florian Wirtz actually I thought played decent and was probably Liverpool's best player, but this game was all about PSG. I thought Vicha Kvaratskhelia, of course. I think there needs to be a serious conversation. When we talk about the best wingers in the world, he is in that conversation, no 100%, doubt, in my mind. I'm willing to even say he might be. I'm not sure if you would consider Mbappe a left winger, but he might be the best left winger in the world.
Who would be his competition? Who else would you say would be his competition right now?
I think Rafinha, but I mean this season, of course, he's been in and out.
Like Vinicius.
Yeah. My thoughts on Vinicius. My thoughts.
I agree though. I think Kvaratskhelia, I mean, it's just head and shoulders above so many players right now. I mean, even as a Belgium fan, putting Doku in that classification, he's nowhere near Kvaratskelia's level. So I don't think that's really a debate, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I thought he was brilliant, not just in this game, but over the two legs. And I mean, PSG are just a machine, man. I'm not sure what it is, what they did, because before, in previous years when they had the Mbappes, the Cavani's, the Neymars, they would always seem to peak in the first part of the season. They would be unbeaten till January or something in the league, and do well in the Champions League groups. But now it seems I guess since last year they switched their mentality somehow, and they managed to seem to peak over this period of the season, and I think I know they just lost against Lyon actually at home.
Yeah.
Hendrick scoring in that game, but
Yeah.
I think they've somehow just managed, and Luis Enrique has done a brilliant job to do this, but they've somehow just managed to switch their their peak in the season, and I think these two legs really showed that. And I just want to say for Salah not even to come on in the first leg,
Yeah.
I thought like really like you're gonna take Gakpo over Salah. Like I know Salah has not been good this season, and I'm not like the biggest Salah fan, despite me being Egyptian.
Yeah.
But I mean, really, you're gonna choose Cody Gakpo over Salah, like in the Champions League. I mean, this is. I think they have to sack Arne Slot and should immediately bring in someone like Xabi Alonso. It makes perfect sense in my opinion. I don't know why you wouldn't.
Yeah, so when you talk about Salah and Gakpo, for me, I kind of disagree because I think Gakpo is a player right now that, yes, I know he's been, probably the most criticized Liverpool player this entire season. I will admit that. But I do think Gakpo is a good player. However, Salah, for me this season, as I mentioned before, in what big match has Salah performed, really, or scored? I mean, we're talking about, against City, against Arsenal, against those top sides, particularly, obviously, PSG in this instance. Yes, he looked good in the second leg when he came on, but it doesn't seem like he's made a massive difference in the big matches. Like, he can get, like, a nice goal against a Fulham or something at the end of the day, but for me, I don't disagree that, like, he should have played more in the first leg or at least gotten some minutes to provide something different, but I don't know. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I do want to push back on that a little bit because I agree Salah has not performed in the big games, but neither has Gakpo.
Yeah.
To be honest, like he hasn't. I can't remember a big performance out of him. And when you have the two who are both out of form, both not performing, both not really scoring, I think Salah, I mean, is just the better option to bring off. Like I feel like he has a better chance of giving you something. It wouldn't have made a difference regardless, to be honest. But I just thought it was a poor decision from Arne Slot. But yeah, I mean, in the second leg we saw Isak and Ekitike, I mean, he started very well, but I think first impressions do a lot for footballers specifically. I mean, he started very well, but I think in recent months even he really just hasn't been that good. And he goes off with a meniscus injury, I think it was. So
Yeah.
hopefully, it was either meniscus or Achilles, something like that.
Yeah.
So hopefully, speedy recovery to him. He's out for the World Cup now, which is unfortunate. But I mean, Isak, like, I'm not sure what he needs to do, but he needs to get back in form ASAP.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Liverpool again just poor over the two legs, to be honest.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think Dembele, like you said, in the second leg was brilliant, and PSG look in a very strong position. We'll get to them in a little bit. So yeah, I guess any kind of closing thoughts on these matches?
Yeah. No, I think this was a pretty straightforward match. Ultimately, and PSG are deserved winners and deserve to go through. So.
Yep. Yeah, I guess moving on to the final matchup of the quarterfinals, we have obviously Arsenal Sporting. I mean, I'm just so disinterested in talking about Arsenal right now. We're recording this on the Monday after they bottled the league, and by that I mean they lost to City yesterday.
Yeah,
and I think they have bottled the league, but I guess we'll see. I don't know. I honestly really have nothing to say about these two legs. Like, Arsenal got the job done in the end. 1-0 on aggregate is like a bit unreal, but
yeah.
I don't know. Is there anything you want to say about Arsenal or Sporting for that matter?
I mean, yeah, it was probably the most boring Champions League match of the four matches. Or most boring fixture.
It might be the most boring two matches of like the decade, maybe.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, no one, unless you were an Arsenal or a Sporting fan, no one was watching these fixtures, and I know a lot of people are preying on Arsenal's downfall right now, to get knocked out of the Champions League and to bottle the Prem, but they live to see another day. So obviously they will be playing Atletico in the next round, and I think that's a very interesting stylistic matchup. But should be an interesting match. So.
Yeah, yeah, no, I completely agree with everything you said. I thought Sporting, like, they did their best over the two legs, but ultimately, like, Arsenal are just too, they too inspired by the terrorist football of Mikel Arteta. But yeah, I not much to say for me. I guess we can move on to the semifinals then, and I think the best place to start is with Arsenal Atletico. Um, I'll let you go ahead and start on that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think Atletico have really impressed and have kind of been, every year there seems to be kind of a dark horse in the Champions League.
Hmm.
For me, obviously, that's Atletico this year. Most certainly, to be honest, they've kind of since the addition of Lookman have looked pretty unreal, and um,
Yes.
you know we had Napoli a few years ago, if everyone remembers, when they were kind of the darling of the tournament. We had Dortmund get to a final a few years ago.
Hmm.
There's always some team that seems to be like this. Obviously, Inter last year. But for me, Atletico are better than all those sides. This Atletico team, and I think they actually match up pretty well against Arsenal. I know they were smashed at the beginning of the year by this Arsenal side, but I think the fact that
Hmm.
this Arsenal team lacks so much confidence and now has the pressure to balance both the Champions League semifinal and the Premier League, it's going to be quite a difficult ask for Mikel Arteta and his players. And I don't know if they have the hunger or have the resolve to defend both titles. They might have to commit themselves to one. So we'll have to see. I'm going to say Atletico get by Arsenal. That is my prediction, my official prediction on this, and get to the Champions League final. And we'll match up, obviously, against the one I predict between PSG and Bayern. But ultimately, I think Atletico are just going to not steamroll, but I think they will surprise this Arsenal side that I think is a bit shell shocked right now since
Hmm.
the loss to City, and but I could see Arsenal, haram balling their way to this final and potentially even winning it all. To be honest, I could
Sounds
see it happening.
crazy. Yeah, it sounds crazy hearing Haram ball against Diego Simeone's side, but
I know, but that's unfortunate. I don't think they played
they
haram
don't.
ball
They
against
they
City.
don't.
Against
I thought you were talking about Atletico.
no,
But
no, no.
against City,
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, they didn't.
against City, I don't think Arsenal played haram ball at all. Actually, I actually thought they had the better chances, to be honest, than City in that match. But obviously, as you mentioned, Diego Simeone is notorious for haram ball, but he has not. They've adjusted their system a lot this season, and with I think Lookman plays a big factor into that. And yeah, I have Atletico winning this and advancing to the Champions League final. But your thoughts?
Yeah, this matchup is really interesting for me because, I honestly might have said the same had Atletico won that Copa del Rey. But
Yeah.
for me, this has kind of just been the story of Atletico in recent years, and I think, it's not just this season. I mean, they haven't really been that kind of defensive team that everyone knows them to be, of like the mid 2010s and late 2010s for that matter. But like really for maybe 3 or 4 seasons now, they've been playing more attacking football, and they've had some thrillers, especially with Barca. Every game they seem to play is always seems to be unreal, but with Arsenal, I'm just so confused. I'm so torn because I knew they were gonna bottle it to City, but I just don't know if Atletico has the juice. Like, it seems like they only turn up against Barca, to be honest. And I'm not sure why, but I mean they just lost the Copa del Rey on pens to Real Sociedad, who they're decent and they're in some good form now. But I mean, earlier this season, Sociedad was, I think, 15th in the league or something along those lines. So I'm not overly convinced by Atletico. It feels like sometimes in the biggest moments they manage to crumble. But I mean, obviously, most people would say the same about Arsenal, and it's true for that matter. So I'm very torn on who I think goes through. But ultimately, I think if Saka is healthy, and again, I'm not the biggest Saka fan. We've kind of talked about that off camera, but
Yeah.
I think if Saka is healthy and some of these players like Timber as well, I'm not sure if he'll be healthy for that time. I think he will be.
Yep.
But once like they come back into the side, I can see Arsenal progressing to a final. To be honest, and
Wow.
how regardless, I don't think either team wins in a final, but um, how funny would it be to see Arsenal go and get second in the Champions League as well? It'd be amazing to see, to be honest. But um,
Part of me wants them to win the UCL though. I'll be honest,
really,
and yes, because
no, God forbid.
I kind of want to see the crash out from rival fans. To be honest, I, I would love to see like the Liverpool fan base just tear everything up because you know Arsenal has won a Champions League, and obviously Liverpool with all their dynamism over the past few years hasn't won one since 2019. So you know. But
Hello.
you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, I think my internet like stopped for like a second, but I'm good now. Anyways,
All right.
what did you just say? Just
Yeah,
to
no,
like
I said Arsenal. I just would like to see them win it. Honestly, a part of me because of the Liverpool fan base would just crash out because Arsenal wins at UCL. With this squad and this style of play, well, Liverpool spends 400 million and can't even get past the quarterfinal and hasn't won a UCL since 2019. So
yeah,
it's a little embarrassing to be
I
honest.
I honestly think it would be disrespectful to the sport if Arsenal were to come away with this Champions League. And I don't think they will. I'm not too worried about that, but I definitely I think over two legs against Atletico they advanced to the final. But
I,
let's move over. Oh, sorry. Do you want to add
No,
one
I was
last
just
thing?
gonna say this isn't a final prediction video, obviously, but I will say if Arsenal do get to a final, I think there's a very good chance that they win, just because of their style of play. I've just a multitude of different teams play that similar way. I know you've said also they don't haram ball like good haram ball teams do or good defensive sides. Um, but I don't know. There's something about this that I could see. I could see a little scripting in it, but remains to be seen ultimately.
Yes. I guess we can move to the other semifinal.
Yep.
PSG Bayern, obviously. And for me, this feels like what the final should be. Obviously, repeat of the 2020 Champions League final, where Bayern won 1-0 through a Kingsley Coman finish. Yeah, you can also take the lead on this one as well.
I think PSG are the better team here, as you've said. I think PSG are probably might be the best remaining team, to be honest, among the last four. Um, but Bayern has progressed so well. They've played very well in moments, attacking wise. They look very fluid, but I just can't trust that defense. I don't know why, and it's looking more and more like your prediction earlier. I don't know if you predicted this, but at least you said it was a possibility that PSG could retain the title, and I do
Hmm.
think it's looking more and more likely. And I'm gonna give the slight edge to PSG over here. I just think they're a more balanced team. I think Bayern has a very good home ground. They have a lot of supports. Company's done a great job with the squad, but the defense I just cannot trust. I don't think Jonathan Tah is a top center back. I don't think defensively Neuer has questions right now. I don't think he played well in one of the Madrid legs, but do we trust him fully? I think PSG have been here before. They understand what it's going to take. And I think I'll give the edge just to PSG for this one, but
Yeah. Yeah, I honestly just agree with everything you just said. I mean, yeah, I think earlier in the season, even though PSG was considered like out of form and they didn't look at it and they weren't performing as well in the Champions League. I think now it's there for everyone to see that they're serious about this competition. They smashed Chelsea, did away with Liverpool like it was easy work, and when you compare that to Bayern over the two legs against Madrid, who have been poor this season, I think you can only really pick one team to go through here that has been here and done it. And I mean, Luis Enrique is probably one of the, if not the best manager in the world right now. And Vincent Company, I think, has done well with Bayern, no doubt. Obviously, Belgian, so you know him well. But I just can't see Bayern beating PSG over two legs. I mean, I don't know why that is. Maybe it's a bit of the Harry Kane factor. I think he would need to have a really big performance if Bayern were to do something. And at the same time, like, I don't think PSG is as good as last year.
Yeah.
Which is like understandable. I mean, that team obviously won the treble, so well, again, they are in France, so to be fair,
Yeah.
like it's not the hardest thing to do. But I mean, I don't know. I just look at that front three, and every time I watch them play, it's like joy to my eyes. It's a beautiful
Wow.
football at its best, and I think these two legs, like, hopefully will be some of the best games of football we see this season, and should be memorable for sure. But yeah, over two legs, I think PSG just nick it.
So your final is what? PSG.
PSG
Um,
Arsenal.
wow.
Mhm.
Wow. What if Bayern is to win this? What does your prediction change for the final?
If Bayern wins, I might back Arsenal, to be honest. I
I
don't
kind of
know.
agree.
I don't know why, but I just don't trust Bayern. Like, I don't know. I don't know what it is specifically.
Yeah.
I think any team with Harry Kane, to be honest, is just hard to trust automatically. And I'm not
Especially in the
just
final.
I'm not saying that. Yeah, I'm not saying that because I have any agenda against them or anything. But a lot of their players, especially like the Olises and whatnot, it feels like it might be a little bit too early for some of their players. Maybe like obviously Neuer has an abundance of experience. Gnabry has done it. Kimmich has done it. But I mean, when I think of the rest of this team, not really too sure. I mean, Luis Diaz, for me, he gets his goals and assists, but I don't think his performances have been great, although he's a player I love to watch. But I don't know. I just think PSG, it's pretty much the same exact team as last year, and they look like the stronger thing. And I feel like more people, for some reason, are backing Bayern, which is a little bit weird to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I just trust PSG.
I think, well, people for me, I think are backing Bayern more just because of how they're that team every year in the UCL. There's a team like this that's very hot, that scores a lot of goals, but isn't the sharpest defensively, and a lot of people pick them, and then they eventually go out in tears. I do think that it's going to be the case with Bayern as well. I do agree with you on your analysis there. But anything else on these Champions League fixtures?
Well, let's. I think we should, just since we
Predict the
both have our
final.
final. Yeah, let's go ahead. I mean, I already shared that I think PSG beat Arsenal in a
Yeah.
rough game, but your final PSG Atleti, I think that's an interesting one.
Yeah, I mean, I'd still would back PSG to win it. I think Atleti makes it a game. May go the distance to penalties, to be honest, but um, I just get the feeling that PSG might retain, to be honest. But you never know. I mean, these semifinals and finals are
Yeah.
so unpredictable.
Hmm.
I would back PSG as the better team. That's what I will say. So I would put them through, but obviously Atleti do have that kind of chip on their shoulder to get a UCL. So I think it'll be interesting.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I think that's everything. Any closing remarks?
No, I think it's been a good episode. Hope you guys enjoyed these Champions League semifinal predictions and final predictions. I guess now and obviously the quarterfinal review, and make sure to leave your comments down below on what you if you guys agree with Alex and I on our assessments, especially on Alex's comments on Barca and whatnot. Again, very interesting video today, and obviously we have our World Cup predictions coming very shortly as well. So that's going to be an interesting one. So stay tuned for that.
Yep. I think that's everything.
Sounds good. But yeah, we will make sure to hit post notifications, like and subscribe, comment below all of your thoughts, and we will see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Peace.